Most gardeners replant every single year. New seeds, new starts, new effort. But some vegetables don't need that reset. These come back on their own, and some of them will produce for 10, 15, even 20 years. If you want food without replanting every season, these are the ones that actually deliver. Let's start with a classic long-term investment. 10. Asparagus. Asparagus is the definition of patience paying off. You plant crowns once, wait 2 to 3 seasons, and then harvest every spring for up to 20 years. It prefers full sun and well-drained soil. The key is not over-harvesting early. Let it establish strong roots first. Once mature, it sends up spears every spring with almost no input from you. Plant once, harvest for decades. 9. Rhubarb. Rhubarb is incredibly hardy. It thrives in cooler climates and comes back reliably each spring. The thick red stalks can be harvested for years without replanting. It doesn't need perfect soil. It doesn't need constant feeding. Just give it space and divide it every few years to keep it vigorous. It's one of the lowest effort perennial crops you can grow. 8. Egyptian walking onions. These are fascinating. Instead of seeds, they grow small bulbs at the top of their stalks. When the stalk bends, the bulb touches the ground and replants itself. That's why they're called walking. They multiply automatically, cold-hardy, pest-resistant, extremely resilient. Once established, you'll always have onions. 7. Sorrel. Sorrel is one of the earliest greens to emerge in spring. It has a lemony flavor and grows fast. Unlike lettuce or spinach, you don't have to replant it every season. It regrows year after year with minimal care. You can harvest leaves continuously without killing the plant. Perfect for salads, soups, and sauces. Number 6. Jerusalem artichokes. Also called sunchokes. These grow tall and produce underground tubers. And once planted, they're staying. They spread aggressively, so choose their location carefully. But if you want reliable calorie-dense food with almost no maintenance, they're hard to beat. Plant once, dig up tubers every year. 5. Perennial kale. Not all kale is annual. Some varieties can survive winter and regrow for years. Instead of replanting seedlings every season, you harvest outer leaves and let the plant continue producing. Cold-hardy, productive, low effort. And the longer it grows, the stronger the root system becomes. 4. Lovage is like celery's stronger cousin. Tall, hardy, long-lived. It returns every season without needing to be replanted. You can use the leaves, stems, and even seeds. Once established, it requires very little care beyond occasional trimming. It's a quiet but powerful addition to a low-maintenance garden. 3. Chives, one of the easiest perennial vegetables you can grow. Plant once and they return every spring. They multiply naturally over time. Cut them back and they regrow. Cold, hardy, pest-resistant, virtually indestructible. If you want a zero-maintenance crop, chives are it. 2. Mint. Mint spreads fast, very fast. Plant it in a container if you want control, but once it's in the ground, you'll never need to replant it again. It tolerates neglect. It tolerates poor soil. It tolerates inconsistent watering, and it keeps coming back. 1. Artichokes. In mild climates, artichokes are perennial, large, dramatic plants that produce for years once established. They prefer full sun and decent drainage, but once rooted deeply, they're surprisingly resilient. One planting can give you harvest season after season. The bigger strategy. Most gardening advice assumes you'll start over every year, but smarter gardens reduce effort over time. Perennials build root systems. They stabilize soil. They require less input, and they produce more consistently. Instead of constantly replanting, you build systems that mature. That's how lazy gardening becomes productive gardening. Plant once, harvest for years. If you're building a low-maintenance, self-sufficient garden, subscribe, because the goal isn't more work, it's smarter work. Before you plant these, there's one important thing to understand about perennial vegetables. They trade speed for longevity. Most won't give you massive harvests in the first year. They build roots first, and that's exactly why they outperform annuals over time. Annual vegetables reset every season. Perennials compound. The deeper their roots go, the less work you have to do. Watering becomes less frequent. Fertilizing becomes less necessary. Resilience increases naturally. That's the real advantage. How to design a lazy perennial system. If you want this to work long-term, group your perennials together. Give them permanent space. Avoid tilling around them every year. Mulch heavily to suppress weeds and retain moisture. Once established, most of these crops become lower maintenance than typical annual beds. You're building a system, not just planting vegetables. Yield reality check. Some of these won't replace your entire grocery bill overnight, but combined, asparagus in spring, chives year-round, sorrel early, Jerusalem artichokes in fall, mint continuously, layered together. They create consistent production with minimal replanting. That's the difference between gardening and system building.